You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, sir.
Jerrod Carmichael.
My guy.
That made me feel special.
What?
I don't know. It did. It just felt good. It was like a great way to, start the day.
You are a special guest, though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I saw you.
Disney World,
man.
That's right.
Let me tell. I was.
Really?
So we're there, and we're like, my sister tapped me. She was like, "Hey, it's a black family with a guide over there. Either you know them or you need to know them." And I walk over and it's you, and I'm like, "Oh, this is great. You and your family."
Well,
So you was just randomly walking up to them because it was a black family at Disney World with a guy.
Yeah. Being honest, we were a black family with a guide. You were a black family with a guide. It was black excellence on rides.
That's
At
how you-
Disney World, when you have a guide, you don't have to wait on rides. They guide you, walk you.
I've had one of those.
And you don't really see too many black people with guides. It's usually
Too many. Who else was? It was me and you.
Yeah, just me and you.
It's me and you, man.
It's all white people with guides.
Come on.
I just want to tell both of y'all, the real black families that are real popping, shut down Disney World for just them and their
You're right.
family.
You're right.
So y'all
Listen,
still got a ways to go.
Can you let us celebrate for a second? We're at the happiest place on earth, and you want to tell us about an ad? We get it, Charlamagne. We all got work to do.
You know, right?
I seen D Wade and Kevin Hart. They had Disney World for themselves. I was like, wow.
That's fun.
Well, we didn't want that. We wanted our kids to play with other kids.
Yeah,
too.
True.
All right.
Yeah.
It's about social interaction, man.
Oh, really, Mr. No Social Media is all about social interaction.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I checked there. I have once every couple months. I have like my IG troll account that I just go and.
Oh, you got a fake account?
Well, I just don't want to sound 90. We're talking to people like it's like, all right, well, let me at least know what's going on.
I was gonna ask you, how do you stay in tune with no social media?
I mean, I have friends.
Yeah.
People tell me, people are like, tell me what's going on. And I mean, I'm very aware of stuff, it's still like news and stuff like that filters to you. And like, I don't like, I tell, like Tyler's always telling me to get on like Instagram and I'm like,
Perry, the creator.
What's that?
Perry, the creator.
Oh, I haven't met Perry yet.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he's like, get on because he'll post stuff about his life. And I'm like, no, this is what this is for. Mm-hmm. Like, I just want to like talk.
So you never got on the social media at all? You just wasn't your thing?
I was on like for a little bit and I realized it just wasn't for me. It didn't really do anything for me. Like I was there and I just wouldn't tweet or wouldn't post on Instagram or anything. So it was just kind of a waste.
I keep wondering why we keep putting ourselves through the pain of social media. Like, everybody's having these conversations about, it's increasing anxiety in the youth. And it's like, why do we keep putting ourselves through it then?
I mean, it really is it could take an emotional toll on you. Mm-hmm. Like what's funny is that Twitter, I don't know if it still has this, but it had the word publish, like to post something and it said publish. And you just think about what publishing is. And it's just like going on record for something that you created.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And like you're going on record and it's just it's a weird feeling and it's an anxiety you could feel just putting something that could be important out into the world every few minutes.
Yeah.
Is a lot.
Not knowing how it's going to be received.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I'm sure people read comments about themselves and that's like.
And it's worse for us who actually publish things for a living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you take thought into a stand-up special before you put it out. You put thought into a TV show before you put it out. It's just a tweet.
Well,
like I don't want to be held accountable for this. I didn't think to put this through.
Well, just think about even how the language has changed. Like when people used to, it's the same thing with video, right? Mm-hmm. If you pull out a phone and start recording your mom or something, she'll like her personality will change because she's going on record. Like people respected cameras in a different way than like we do now, and so now we're all just too natural on camera. You know what I mean? And like the same thing with like the thoughts from the evolution of MySpace to Facebook to Twitter to IG is just like even the language has changed so much. People like the way they express themselves is so different, and it's like it isn't a lot of pause. You know what I mean? It's just really fluid, and it's like of course you're gonna regret things, and of course you're gonna get fired for some tweets you said. And, 2009.
Right.
Which I hate, by the way.
It's silly, but it's like, you're just putting everything on record.
But you don't get a satisfaction of when you put out a special, seeing immediately what people are saying, whether they love it or hate it. That's you don't.
Yeah,
want that.
It's no, again, the pause of like, well, how do I? Sometimes I don't know how I feel about something for a while. I hated 808s and Heartbreak for a year. For a full year, I hated that album. I thought it was insane. I thought Kanye lost it. I would listen to it off and on and just dismiss it. And then one day I was like driving and it just hit me and I was like, oh, this is changing music. You realize that like it's amazing. And like if I were tweeting about that immediately, I would be like, oh, fuck this album. Yeah, he's crazy. And then later I would have been like, oh, my bad.
I get it now.
I have to tweet my retraction, I guess.
Nothing wrong with changing your mind.
Nothing wrong with changing your mind. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you don't really know how you feel about a thing.
Live with things for a minute.
Yeah.
How are your conversations with Kanye? What do y'all talk about? Because y'all real cool. I saw y'all walking in the mountains of Wyoming together.
It's really nice up there. He's great. I mean, he's doing all right. We just talk about life and stuff. You know,
listen, I'm one of the few black people left that likes Kanye West. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I like Kanye.
No, I mean, we all love or have loved or whatever, like his music and him and, you know. I mean, he's still this genius artist.
He is.
You know what I mean? He's still a genius artist.
And it seems like he's getting back to being him and thinking the right way now.
In Chicago the past couple of weeks, I think it's very important for people to get reconnected with their core.
Yeah, of course. Really important.
I feel like you, Jerrod, that you really don't want to be in front of the camera anymore. Am I correct in that assessment?
I enjoy making phone calls from my living room in sweatpants a lot and emails. And like, I enjoy being a little bit away from it. Like unless I have something to say, you know, it's that thing about going on record. Like I don't have I never have a need for attention. I actually really don't want attention unless it's like, oh, I made this thing or I want to talk about this thing. And then it's like, hey, look at me, you know, for a second. And then I like helping my friends make stuff. I like just, you know, but I'm more so like writing stuff for me to do and, you know, easing back into it.
How is that as a creative though? How do you know when you got something to say as opposed to like, you know what, I'm gonna save this for Rel's show. I'm gonna save this for this person's stand-up special.
I never really think about it. It's like the best thought wins for whatever we're working on.
So you never hold anything?
No. It's just like, let's put this in, like, you know, when you're creating something, it's always like your obsessions and the stuff that you love and you're thinking about, like the things that are on your mind are what's best. So you have to put that into whatever you're working on. With that said, with like Rel is, you know, it's very much his show. I have been, you know, I'm there and I kind of consult and talk, but it's Rel's sense of humor and it's Rel's point of view, and it's, you know, Rel is just, he yells at me all the time because sometimes I have like kind of a dark sense of humor. And
we know from your first stand-up, the rape joke you tried to get off.
Hey man,
that
listen,
the Me Too movement would kill you for in 2018.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it was a thought. First of all, it wasn't just a dismissive. When we talk about this first time I was here,
we did.
Yeah.
We did.
No need to bring it back up.
We covered
I don't want them to dig that back up.
No. But I'm just saying, you know, it's just a thought that we captured or whatever. But you know, wait, what were we?
You talking about Rel?
Yeah, with Rel,
talking about giving up something.
Well, with Rel, it's like I have this dark sense of humor. He'll be like, "Hey, man, you know, this ain't Carmichael show." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But meaning, and that's the right thing to say. It's like, "Oh yeah, this is your thing," and I have to make sure it's, you know.
So you never hold any, because I always think about artists when they write for somebody else. You ever write something so good, be like, "I'm gonna keep this one for myself."
No, I don't really think like that. Some things are for you, and you should just do that. Like if it's tailor-made for you. I just shot the special, and the guy's up there, and it's no
Drew
audience.
Michaels?
Yeah, Drew Michaels. Okay. There's no audience. That's an idea I would have used for me, but I didn't want to record, and it works for him. I wouldn't do that for everybody.
Right.
Like there's a few artists that could do that. You know, Dave Chappelle could do that. Like there's a few people that would like kill it in that space. But that's not an idea. I could have just saved it for a year, you know, and then did it for me or something. But it was like, no, that works for you.
Yeah, I remember having some conversations with some HBO executives, and they was telling me about it, and I was like, no audience.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
I didn't get a chance to watch it. It came on a couple weeks ago, right?
Last Saturday, I believe. Yeah.
It's weird because it seems like comedians crave that attention. Like it's almost like you need that audience feedback.
That feedback, yeah.
Yeah. Like I just believe that you spend this whatever amount of time crafting these thoughts, and they work as thoughts. I mean, this special was still tested on the road and done in front of audiences, and the material works, but the thought, I think, is what's most important for some people. And it's just like, again, with him, I think it works without an audience because you'll laugh or respond to it, sometimes not through laughter. And maybe it shouldn't be called stand-up, or maybe it's, categorized wrong or whatever. But, like, it works for some people and some people it doesn't. It's not a rule, and some people should, like, Rel will do a special soon. He should be in front of an audience. He should be, like, surrounded by people.
Is
like,
there a laugh track or applause track, anything? Or
no. It's just you and the thought, and that's it. And it's up to you.
That's uncomfortable.
But we're kind of conditioned to laugh. It's a social thing, right? We laugh because everybody else is laughing.
True.
And we do that. Again, the material works. In a room full of people, it was weird. We screened it, and just hearing laughter on the thing we made for the first time was weird. It was weird. It was like, oh yeah, that's right. These jokes work. But it's like, if it works in a group, it should work alone, and maybe it doesn't, but it's up to you. I like to just make stuff, and then it's like, here, respond.
That is definitely weird, because it's like DJing in an empty club. You're not going to give the same energy.
Or you could just be up there vibing out, man.
Or
you could just be in your zone.
You're right.
You could be DJing. You could be in tears by the end of your set.
It's like the comedy version of a silent listening party.
Yeah.
Where everybody goes there with the headphones on, and you can't hear music loudly.
A lot of people, like, comedians, that I've heard that kind of rebel against it. Again, everyone in whatever field you're in, a lot of times has a hard time accepting, like, change or something that goes outside of what you're used to. And it's like, this isn't the rule. Yeah, no, everybody shouldn't record a special. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's not even how it's. The art form was created with an art. I get it. I'm just saying for him it works. I'm just saying for you should really. It's just saying that comedians specifically, because I think it's the group that should hear that the most, can do whatever they want.
Gotcha.
As long as you put thought into it, like, you can do whatever you want, and it's a certain freedom, I think, that it expresses.
We did that to Donnell Rollins when he came up here. We said, like, no matter what Donnell says,
we did.
Do not laugh.
Oh, really?
And he was so awkward for 5 minutes.
Yes, he was.
Because he was letting those jokes fly. We were just sitting there staring at him.
Oh, I got to watch that.
Is there a new format to do stand-up?
Like a new format?
Yeah, because I feel like, like that's, I guess what you did is a new format. But, it's like, remember that old Chris Rock joke he had where he was like, it's not a special, it's a regular? That's what it's starting to feel like now. Everybody.
Well, yeah, it's just the bubble is about to burst. Everything goes through that. Like, anything that's popular, anything that proves profitable, it's always a gold rush. People come in, you try and get as much as you can from it, and then the public goes like, all right, enough already, and then it moves to the next thing.
Gotcha. And
stand up, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a lot out there. It is a lot out there. Some of it really, really great. A lot of it not so much, and it's just, you're inundated with content in general, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to choose from.
I almost feel like the next wave got to be a live stand-up special. Like, I feel like
people have done that, and
I think a lot of people do that now. Though,
yeah, people have done that. There is a danger to live anything, and that's fun. It would have to be the right person. It have to be, like, meaningful.
Yeah.
Like, why this being live? Why is that dangerous? You know what I mean? Like, why? Because you can do an act in one take. So it would be kind of the same thing as a tape, I guess. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't work this out on here. Just trying to figure out the logistics of it. Yeah.
Now, when you're doing your writing, do you watch or do you stay away from anybody? Like, if you're writing for a white comedian, do you be like, well, I got to stay away from these type of jokes, or do you just do what's natural? Or what's in the moment?
I usually don't, like, outside of, like, the show, like, write for a comedian. I guess I do. Like with Nate Bargatze's show I'm doing, I write from a perspective that I think is interesting, like a thing that I haven't heard people say before. With Rel is, the things I contribute is just the perspective of that character. You just kind of jump in and kind of immerse yourself into what you think is interesting for that character to say.
You said something interesting to TSA. You said that Carmichael's show was built from the argument out. What does that mean?
It was at its core just like, hey, what about this thought? It really is like a philosophy type show. It's like, what about this thought? Explore from all angles, and that was the core of the show. It's all taught. Like, Carmichael's show is just like, I mean, we would be like in one scene for half the episode, and it really was it was like, you know, the McLaughlin group. It was like the Breakfast Club, you know, in sitcom format. It was very much about the argument. And I love that. That was fun, like just attacking something from all sides.
And you said the Rel writing team has been working that from reverse, so it's not about the argument?
Well, Rel is just about, you know, his constant mandate is he wants it funny. And he has the team to do it. You know, him and Sinbad. Sinbad's, you know, back on the air. It's amazing. We
Sinbad funny as shit.
He's one of the most naturally funny people. I love his interviews here. You know, like he's always great and like he has a million stories. He's seen everything.
I think we opened him up to a younger audience too. A lot of people I don't think might not have known who he was and how funny he was, and they love him.
Yeah, he's one of those people that like a lot like Rel, who is never not funny. They're just kind of always, you could catch them in the middle of a tragedy. And you like, remember, you're not to laugh, bro. I'm sorry for your loss, but you are.
You're funny, right?
Yeah, they're really, really good. So he just wants funny, you know, like he talks about Martin a lot, and you know what that was to culture, and really that being the North Star of the show.
How did you feel about bringing in a social media influencer like Just Hilarious, who I love, who I look at and I say she's a star, but how did you feel about bringing her in? Any hesitation?
Oh, that was, I saw her on my sister's Instagram. And
you be stalking Instagram. He ain't got his own, but
I'll peek over. I'll look. Yeah. If you're on IG beside me, I'm gonna look at your phone.
Right.
See what are you scrolling through? Because it's someone's likes curated.
Absolutely.
You know, you could tell a lot about a person. But I saw Jess, and then I was like, oh, it has to be her. And I called Rel, and he was like, oh, I was thinking about it too. I think she's great. I think she is just this incredible energy, personality. She is a star.
100%.
She absolutely a star. And I'm really, really in awe of watching her just take to the format, and she's like on it and really killing it, you know, and just a professional, a great actress. I'm excited for what she does.
Yeah, that's who posts we need to delete from back in the day, just in case.
What?
Just in case.
Oh, Jess?
Yeah, just in case.
Jess went crazy.
Yeah, just in case.
But she's kind of, I guess, made her mark and a living just being this open personality that just, if you say everything, you don't have to, I guess, redact anything. What is she going to just take down everything? She's been honest from the beginning.
I agree with that, but I always say live your truth so nobody can use your truth against you, but these corporations now are using that against people.
Yeah.
Which I hate.
Yeah, I mean, like it's silly on both ends. Like we probably should be paused before putting anything out, and also, you know, corporations have to respect that these tweets don't necessarily represent the person now. You know, and people can change, but you know.
What separates Rel from every other comedian to the point that he warrants a sitcom? Which I think Rel is hilarious too, but I'm sure other comedians are like, why are you doing that with Rel?
I think he's a really good actor. I think he carries emotion well on his face. He can do comedies are a lot about like turns, like doing like these emotional turns. He does that really well. I just think he's never not funny, you know, and he has a love for it. I guess that's most important. Like he wanted to do this and wanted to do this format, so he wanted to do it, and he's a natural.
Was anything off limits when y'all shot it and recorded?
Anything off limits
as
for
far as
Rel?
his family and everything?
Yeah. He has a lot more, you know, kind of boundaries. You know, not a lot more. I'm like putting my dad's outside kid on the air. Like it's like I'm like, we'll talk about it, man. Like whatever it is, let's just talk about it. And Rel is, and it's early, so you're figuring out how far you can go.
He wants to see how it takes. How
you figure out. But he's very respectful to his family, as you should be. You know, I'm just a little bit more. I'll record the episode and call my mom and be like, look, I put it. I was in a zone last night. I was writing. I put it on there.
Has that ever happened with your family? Your family got upset with something you put out there?
My family's very understanding. My family is very much so all right, you do you. You know, like I love my family so much because I have touched on really personal stuff that isn't necessarily it's mine because it, you know, affects me, and it's, you know, my life as well, but you know, some things that affect them as well, like, you know, and lightly in the show, heavier in stand up, you know, I just put it up there.
Why don't they care? They just happy to get the good Christmas gifts and birthday presents? Like,
no, I think it's like everyone's pretty content with who they are, you know, and knows who they are, and like, so it's like nothing I'd say is gonna change that.
Right.
So I think it's like my mom is like the most content person in the world, like and the most self-confident person in the world. Just like she knows who she is. She has no need to waver or hide or anything.
And if it happened, it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some things you might not want out there though, just in case.
Hey, man, good content is good content.
Yeah, it's content. It's interesting things. You know what I mean? With respect to the people involved, it's still interesting things. You know, if you have a thought behind it and you can put it out there, you should.
What's that smell?
I smell like something burning
Yeah,
too, right?
smell lambo.
Oh man,
Nah,
Show something on fire?
I don't know.
What did you really think of the shop, man?
this is where we all just like we're like, do we
Do we evacuate?
do we run? Like what's the
the-
decision?
I do smell something on
yeah,
fire.
yeah.
But anyway, okay.
What did you really think of the shop?
I thought it was great. It was maybe the most kind of honest everyone has been on television. It felt like everyone was just having such an honest conversation. There's some stuff in there. I mean, we recorded for what had to have been 4 or 5 hours.
Really?
Oh yeah, easily. And like I was only gonna be there for an hour and just got caught up, you know, and we just talked for a long time. And there's a lot of stuff that's cut. And I almost want, like, you could do a bunch of episodes from just what we recorded.
Ain't no red wine in the barbershop, though.
I mean, it's also a television show.
That is very true. Yes.
And it's like it's a couple people getting their haircuts, but it's just like people are just kind of relaxed.
How do you think people receive, like regular everyday people receive celebrities talking about real world issues? Don't you think that celebrities can be a little far removed from real world issues?
Sometimes, yeah, your life becomes different, but you can still have compassion and you still have an understanding. And a lot of us come from places where you're deeply rooted in problems that are currently going on. So it depends. There's a lot of capitalizing on the current moment. There's a lot of that, and you can tell. I think people can tell when someone is really about it, and when someone's just trying to make content because Cap is talked about right now, and they throw him in a thing. You can tell the people that mean it versus the people that don't. And so, I think you can smell phonies. We see that coming.
Only problem is you need people to do more of it, because people will post their cars, their cribs when they're at the club, when they're on vacation, but you don't see when they do all the positivity sometimes. And sometimes you need to see it, because that can have a chain reaction on people, though.
Yeah. I always have mixed feelings about it, because you do want more positivity out there, showing that it is about helping people. You also, I'm the type of person that's every time I've given has been just the quietest thing, and that gives me fulfillment. But I guess it depends, at least talk about the importance of it. If nothing else, at least speak to it and talk about how important it is to.
I think we need more people talking about their fears and their anxieties and their insecurities, especially those celebrities.
But speaking about it honestly, if you're gonna talk about it, the thing is, the filter of social media or television or whatever then requires a certain amount of performance. Most people kind of perform their feelings for the world, right? It's if you're sad, you gotta be Instagram sad. You know what I mean? Instagram sad is a mood, man. That's a lighting. That's a whole different type of sad than maybe not be the type of sad you are right now. You know what I mean? There's a certain level of performance to it, and so but it is that if you're gonna talk about it, if you're gonna be sad, put the Viola Davis snot nose.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be sad, put the raw, ugly sad on there.
It's so crazy to me, because you don't get sympathy on social media.
Well, you don't get sympathy because all of the response is protected. Even the response is somewhat of a performance. The Shade Room is about those first 3 comments with the most likes. You know what I mean? It's about comments, right? It's about that thing. So even the response is somewhat of a performance. People are putting jokes.
Yeah.
People aren't putting diary entries. These are it's all a show.
Right.
It's all a show.
Everybody's performing now, especially being at the baller alerts and the shade rooms reward you because if you put out a fire post, a fire response,
repost your
clap back, you know what I'm
listen,
saying?
And nobody steal this idea. I want to do a talk show with just like the top 5 commenters on Shade Room and like, you know what I want to hear them talk in a long-term format. I'm interested.
I tried to do that with Uncommon Sense.
Oh, did it not work?
Nah, because like it's a difference between, you know, being funny on Instagram or even witty on Instagram and social media than it is in person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes some quick wit. Like you have to be able to talk and communicate. A lot of these kids are just socially awkward. You know what I'm saying?
And they got 2-3 hours to write that comment too. Sometimes they can prepare it.
I'm sure there's some people that would kill. I'm sure finding the right people.
I mean, you look at Bow Wow, right? Bow Wow, you know,
performing.
Bow Wow put, you know, his arm on the floor like he was committing suicide. You ever read
I didn't
those
see
comments?
that. Oh wow.
I mean, they be going hard at Bow Wow.
Performing.
Do it, Bow Wow.
Yeah, they like
damn.
exactly.
Oh man.
I'd be like, if he's really thinking that way and he reads those comments, you might be like, you know what? It's foul.
If you pick up that water one more time and don't take a drink.
I'm cautious just because of
You can drink that
branding. Is it
damn water.
okay?
You can
All
drink
right,
that.
I didn't want to.
Man.
No, it really. Well, it was because I was like the labels on and I didn't know
If you're
what the
parched
rules
to
were.
drink,
Yeah,
Jerrod.
but I guess you guys got all
my
types of
God, you
labels.
talking about
Drink
branding
that,
with
man.
My
Cetaphil
bad.
lotion in here.
I'm
sorry,
drinking
it
my
can't-
water. Drink your
All
water.
right, my bad. Thank you very much. Alkaline, man, it's important.
I have a feeling that you're a Bow Wow fan.
What's that?
I have a feeling you were a Bow Wow fan growing up.
No. I mean, you know,
Where did you get that
all
from?
the power to him. But why you?
You just looked a little sad when you mentioned Bow Wow killing himself.
Well, I'm sad because if he's gonna, I don't want him to kill himself.
Oh yeah, you're right. Damn, I forgot
Anybody
about
would be
that
sad
part.
with anybody.
Yeah,
killing
it's
themselves.
like, I don't want to. Yeah,
Cold hard hard over
I
here.
hope he's
like,
okay. I really do.
Goodness gracious.
But no, I was like one of those. You know, we were strong. What was I during Bow Wow's era? I was Jay, of course, and whoever. I can't remember what year it was.
You got a real respect for the hip hop culture though.
Yeah.
Is it because you grew up in North Carolina? Because, you know, we talk about this. I grew up from South Carolina, you're from North Carolina. Is it because music helped you transcend your circumstances?
Absolutely. Well, we all, like, hip-hop is really important because it does empower, you know, and I think people overlook that and, you know, it's easy for people to dismiss it as whatever the labels it gets, misogynistic or whatever. It's really empowering. I know the amount of, like, courage, you know, it would give me in moments and, like, the swagger it gives you and like it's really important. It can be really, really important. So I definitely respect it a lot.
Could the Carmichael Show have come back with the same cast? Or did everybody blow up too fast?
I mean, you know, that deal would be crazy.
Yeah.
Like now.
They'd have to cut a hell of a check.
Yeah, that would
Tiffany
be a crazy
had
deal.
it.
Yeah.
Rel,
I was
you.
actually talking to Tiff about this maybe last night even. Like it was just about like, oh, that would be the craziest deal in the world now. Like it is. I knew it was an amazing cast. I would call them the best cast on television constantly because I really believed that. Like it was amazing. You know, they were all stars. They all are stars. I mean, David and Loretta already, but you know, Tiff and you know, Rel, Amber, they're great.
Is that one of the reasons it didn't come back? And NBC just didn't think they could afford it?
No, it kind of ran its course. You know, it was
3
part.
seasons.
It was. I mean, look, it was part like licensing things, but it was also me understanding that I thought it was time. Being really honest with you, I thought it was time. I I remember the conversation with my parents even before. I was like, I'm not going to bring the show back. And they lost it. They were just all sad and depressed. And I was like, you know, I had no sympathy. I was like, boo-hoo, all the other parents on the block get to keep their television shows. Looking for you. Like, but it was a show that was, one, it was a lot. I mean, that was a full time. I lived at the studio, you know, for the time where we were in production. It was like, you give a lot. To make a show that specific, like, it takes all of your time. There were no, like, you know, it wasn't jokes for me. It's never just jokes for me. You know, it's always perspective. So it's like, that takes a while to like sit and think and crack and make sure it's honest. And like exhaustion of that. Also, I think it exists best as this example. I think 3 seasons of that is enough. I think it's like, it can live on, you know, and I'm really proud of it. And I loved it, but it ran its course.
It's like a rapper. It's like it's more popular in its death.
Yeah. Thank you. It's the Tupac of television.
The Biggie of television.
Yeah.
Do you feel like if the show continued on, Tiffany and Rel wouldn't have popped as fast?
No, I mean those things already. I mean, Tiff did Girls Trip before we started the third season. Rel done
Get Out.
I had to like work around his schedule so he could shoot Get Out. You know what I mean? Like that was it. Absolutely, I think would have like said they're destined for that. Like that's why I brought them into the show. Like you could see it. It was like, oh, these are stars. These are incredible stars. And I just saw it. I just was able to get them early.
Right. Did anybody at NBC push back on them? Like, oh, we need bigger names.
Yeah.
Oh, who are those dummies' names?
But they always push again, like this incredible cast. Everybody was like, well, they don't know. It's up to you to know. You got to know. Right. Like you can't let a network cast your show.
But do they tell you that you're right when it's all said and done?
No,
exactly.
No,
That's what I hate.
No, what they do. This is how you know you're right. What they do is then they make deals with them even after or around the thing. That's a network subtle way of saying I'm sorry.
That makes sense.
Well, we appreciate it. September 9th.
Wait a minute though. We don't even know what. Oh, you're here to promote Rel.
I don't even know why I'm here. I just wanted to talk to you.
I'm like, why are you out here? I mean, I'm always happy to see you. But
no, I was excited. I was like, oh, this would be fun just talking to you. Where's Angela?
She went to South Africa to get in touch with her black side.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was my first trip. That was my first flight ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Your first flight ever?
My first flight ever was to South Africa.
I want to go too, but why was that your first flight?
Well,
I mean, because I just didn't fly before. I was in North Carolina. I never left the city like that. I mean.
But why South Africa though? What was it? A field trip?
A field trip?
I had something that was going. It was like right after I graduated high school, and I went, and it was amazing. I loved it. Like I'd stayed for a few weeks, I think.
I go twice a year. I love it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Love it.
The people are
South
beautiful.
Africa.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I need to go back. It's been a while.
When are you getting you a high-profile girlfriend, man? You see our guy Pete got him a superstar.
I know, yeah. Pete is going.
Pete is
through
living
it, man.
the life. Yeah,
Pete is in the fame is a lot. Like all you want is money and a seat at your favorite restaurant. That's
everything else
important.
is extra.
Everything else is a burden.
Because I didn't go to the VMAs this year, so I was at home watching it, and I'm like, yo, they will not take the camera. So I text them like, yo, do not dig in your nose.
They're the star in the thing. Yeah, and she's sweet though. She's sweet.
So when you getting you a high-profile girlfriend?
I mean, I'm not gonna go force it. Like, just wait outside the club, see who the camera follows.
No interest. Nobody you're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, but
he's not gonna tell you on air.
Yeah,
not to say over the radio to
whoever,
they'll
pop up.
Yeah.
Like it'll, I'm not really. I don't really have time for a relationship at the moment. I have to reword it. I don't really make time for it right now.
Jesus Christ, that's cold.
That's not cold. That's the truth. That's an. It'll hurt. It would hurt her more to lie about that, to pretend I'm making. That's a whole nother
topic. All right.
It seemed like I was talking to It seemed like I was just talking to one. Look at the camera, just like speak to her, just like
He said that line a million times. I don't make time for a relationship.
I usually say that over rigatoni and wine.
Well, this Sunday. What time this Sunday? Do you know the time?
On Fox, it's after football.
It's after football.
After football.
It's after football.
Yeah, so whatever time the football game is over.
I was just telling you, I'm the worst at like remembering dates. I barely know what day it is sometimes.
I do know it's September 9th after football.
September 9th
and I
after
appreciate
football.
y'all.
That's right.
And you know what's funny? It doesn't have a time. It just says after football.
Oh, then great.
Yeah.
Oh, then great.
Well, after football.
Time is subjective.
Well, we appreciate you for joining us, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Jerrod Carmichael.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.